I'm a Fanatic. Fanatic. I rep Christ till I die. Fanatic. I'm not extreme, I'm redeemed with faith to serve a God who's extreme.
Hey everyone, welcome to our message recap videos for Element Student Ministries. We have started a series called Fanatic. An F-A-N-A-T-I-C, as Lecrae would say, a Fanatic worship series. And so our big idea for this series is when you see him for who he truly is, you will give him all you have. Let me say that again. When you see him for who he is, you will give him all you have. And our key thought for this week one is that you become what you worship. And whether you realize it or not, we all worship something, whether it's the Denver Broncos, whether you love the Kansas City Chiefs, as Pastor Sean does, or whatever it is that you love, we all worship something. And the reality is asking ourselves the question, what is the number one object of our worship? And there's an interesting story in the Bible in 1 Kings chapter 18 where there's a guy named Elijah, and the people that were surrounding him were worshiping false gods. And I would encourage you to read it. It begins in verse 16, but they're having this conversation of who is the one true God. And so they're having this little bit of a test that Elijah has. And I'm going to read you part of it. And here's what he says to the people, Elijah. In verse 30, he says, "Then Elijah said to all the people, 'Come here to me.' They came to him, and he repaired the altar of the Lord, which had been torn down. Elijah took 12 stones, one for each of the tribes descended from Jacob, to whom the word of the Lord had come, saying, 'Your name shall be Israel.' With the stones, he built an altar in the name of the Lord, and he dug a trench around it large enough to hold 2 seahs of seed. He arranged the wood, cut the bull into pieces, and laid it on the wood. Then he said to them, 'Fill 4 large jars with water and pour it on the offering and on the wood.' 'Do it again,' he said, and they did it again. 'Do it a third time,' he ordered, and they did it the third time. The water ran down the altar and even filled the trench. At the time of sacrifice, the prophet Elijah stepped forward and prayed, 'Lord, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, let it be known today that you are God in Israel, and that I am your servant, and have done all these things at your command. Answer me, Lord, answer me, so these people will know that you, Lord, are God, and that you are turning their hearts back again.' Then the fire of the Lord fell and burned up the sacrifice, the wood, the stones, and the soil, and also licked up the water in the trench. When all the people saw this, they fell prostrate and cried, 'The Lord, He is God. The Lord, He is God.'" When they saw him, God, for who he truly was, they gave him all they have. And our encouragement for you today is as we become fanatic, like the song Lecrae says, he's an Fanatic fanatic. He reps Christ till he die. And when I think about this, I think about my life, and I wouldn't really say, you know what, I don't know if I'm a fanatic. You know, when we think of the word fanatic, we think this extremist. But the reality is that a fanatic is someone who lives with abandon, where they say, you know what, God, you are everything to me. You are my all in all. So I ask you the question today, are you a fanatic? Are you someone that wants to follow Jesus with everything you have? Because the reality is we all worship something. We all worship something, and all of us become what we worship. May you become like Jesus, as he is the number one object of your worship.
I'm a Fanatic. Fanatic. I rep Christ till I die. Fanatic. I'm not extreme, I'm redeemed with faith to serve a God who's extremely great. I'm a fanatic. I'm a Fanatic. Fanatic. I rep Christ till I die. Fanatic. I'm not extreme, I'm redeemed with faith to serve a God.